Hello and welcome to High Point Music's Gear Reviews. I'm Lewis, and in today's episode I'm kind of throwing our What the Fuzz series into disarray by showing a specific bass guitar fuzz pedal based on a very famous fuzz pedal. It's the Black Mud from Tin Guitars, which is specifically built for the bass guitar. It takes elements from an electro-harmonic series of big muffs called referred to as the Black Big Muffs. They were fuzz pedals produced in Russia, and they are black. So it's a pretty creative name on the nickname as part for the Electro Harmonics model. This particular pedal was built specifically in such a way that traditionally bass guitar fuzzes, the problem they run into is most fuzzes are designed to filter out super low end frequencies, which results in some thin or tinny sounding sounds when a bass guitar runs through them. This pedal has that filter, or has those filters specifically geared to suit a bass guitar. So it's going to let those frequencies through rather than filtering them out. And that means we end up with some really, really huge bottom end sounds for arguably the most important instrument in the band. It does have a mids-range switch, which just changes the tone stack scoop around a little bit to give you some more presence. And it also has a high and a low input sensitivity. So if you're running active pickups, you want to run it on the low input. If you're running a keyboard through it or that kind of thing, then that can make a big difference too. The big sound difference is it's huge and fuzzy on the high input and more of an overdrive on the low input, which I'll show you. So we probably should get into it. I am playing my jazz bass. We're running into the Black Mud and then into the VT Bass DI from Tech 21. Here's my basic clean tone. Let's turn the Black Mud on. I've got the distortion cranked, and I'll set the tone control back to about 12 o'clock so we get an idea. This pedal has a ton of output volume. It's crazy, so I have got it pretty low. And it sounds huge. This is what my bridge pickup sounds like. Definitely brightens things up a little bit more. If you're playing a P bass or something with a brighter sort of tone, this has a lot of room to move in its sound qualities, but you definitely get that droney kind of sound as well out of it. Like so. If we dial our tone control forward, sweep that control back. Not a huge change in tone, but it'll be a little bit of a sweep there for you. While we've got the distortion turned all the way up, I'm going to drop it down to the low gain setting as well. So we go from here to here. Bring that tone knob back up. Up even further. And then cranked. It's a cool, thin kind of not Weasley per se, but it's a really wiry-like sound that I think works well if you're playing a lot of heart attack kind of bass guitar. I'm going to drop that back to the middle of the tone control and bring that gain control down just to show you what that kind of difference does. Just a little bit more than that, Lewis. Which is pretty cool. You get some nice I kind of call that a vintage sort of sound. It's not too bright and harsh, but it's definitely got a roundedness to the tone that is pretty appealing. Let's just drop that up to the high input mode, which is still kind of fuzzy on the bridge. But nowhere near as brutal as the higher gain settings. The tone control at 3 o'clock. A little bit of a honk to it there, and then the tone control at 9 o'clock, which is definitely a bit beefier, a bit bassier sounding, but still has quite a lot of clarity, particularly again on the bridge pickup. The thing that kind of stands out about this particular version of Big Muff is the amount of frequency that it covers. It really sounds pretty huge. You're definitely going to get a big advantage from finding a pedal like this in your bottom end frequencies, but you're also going to need to be a little bit more controlled about your settings. The really cool point in case is, like a few of the Tim pedals and other pedals that I've shown on this channel, it has a mids control, which allows you to take that traditional Big Muff scoop out and get a brighter response. I'm just going to dial up a little bit more gain for, let's say, scientific reasons. So reasonably subtle kind of change there. But there's definitely a change in the amount of honkiness that's going on. If I pull down the tone control a little bit, pretty subtle in that range actually. Let's try it with more gain. So again, it's not a huge change in tone, but if you're playing guitars that have active pickups and different frequency responses, you're going to notice that change quite a bit. To me, the real point of difference is the high and low input setting. If you can dial in a sound out of both of them, you're basically going to get two pedals in one, which is pretty cool. And it's a really great way to change the dynamic and the frequency response of your guitar. In a bit of a nutshell, that's the Tim Guitars Black Mud. It definitely sounds fuzzy. It definitely has all that extra bottom end. The high and low input makes it a great choice for people who are playing different bass guitars or who have an active and passive system in their guitar that they can switch between. Really allows you to get that sort of brutal crushing fuzz sounds and those lighter overdrive, kind of warmer, more vintage tones as well, which I think is pretty cool. If you're interested in checking one of these out, I'll pop a link to Tim's website below. His blog on how he came up with building this pedal is really interesting read as well, particularly if you're getting into building any of your own effects. He talks about a few concepts that are really, really relevant for people getting into overdrives and fuzz pedals. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to give us a like, a share, a thumbs up. We do appreciate the feedback. I'm gonna do a video with this fuzz pedal and my Fender Bass 6, which is getting some new pickups into it fairly shortly. So that'll be a cool comparison to see what the difference is between a more of a bass sound and more of a guitar sound. And then maybe after that, we'll throw a Jazz Master through it and kind of give you three choices of the range of this pedal as well. So if you've got any questions there, don't forget to leave a comment. Again, head over to the blog and check us out there. We've got lots of information on the posts that we do, both the gear reviews and the lessons. It's a really cool source of information. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.